Hi, I'm Lisa Hayden with Channel 6 Central Kentucky TV, Community Focus on Washington County. And I'm happy today to have with us the mayor of Mackville, whom I didn't think I was ever going to get on this show. You're a busy man, Mayor.
I try to be.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I think I think it's important that we see what's going on, not just in Springfield, but in our county. And Mackville is one of the, you are an incorporated city.
That's correct.
Of Mackville is. And so with that comes a mayor and a
City Commission.
Yes,
ma'am.
And I think with the commission there are 4 members.
4, yes.
So that is different from our city council in Springfield, because we have a city council with 6 members and a mayor. So tell me the difference with the commission in lieu of a council.
Okay, well, in a commission form of government, we have 4 commissioners and the mayor. The only difference in the mayor and the commissioners, as mayor, I preside over the meetings, have the authority to call a special meeting, and other than that, I just have 1 vote like the other 4 commissioners have.
Yeah.
We started out as a board of trustees in 1980 when I first started, and I was chairman of the board of trustees, and then it evolved into mayor and 4 councilmen. Then it changed to commission, and we're still a mayor and 4 commissioners.
Okay, so you'll have to explain that to me. You started out in 1980?
80, January.
Is that when you became mayor?
Yes, January the 1st of 1980.
Was there a mayor prior to you?
There was. Jim Powell was.
Oh,
well,
okay.
no, he was not the mayor. He was the chairman of the board of trustees.
Okay.
So in 1980, I got 1 more vote than one of the other 4 or 5 people that was running, so that made me the chairman of the board of trustees. Marcy Russell, Oliver Toomey, Don Grimm, and Marvin Darling. And I got 1 more vote than Marcy Russell, so that made me chairman of the board of trustees.
Okay. And how did you come to, okay, so that started out as the board of trustees for the City of
Mackville, yes.
And then you went to a council after that?
Yeah, after a while the state decided that wherever legislature changed it to a city and was city and city council. Then when we became a 6th class city and the classes 1 through 6, that's population less than 2,000, then they determined that commission form of government or council, either one, and we chose to go with commission.
Okay.
That way, I have no power of veto. Like I say, I can do nothing other than preside at the meetings, call a special meeting, and then I have 1 vote just like the other 4 commissioners have.
Yeah. So, of course, that's different from a council in that the council votes, the mayor does not, but actually the mayor has the majority of power. The council has the control of the budget.
Right.
But the mayor makes the day-to-day decisions with the city administrator and as carrying that out for the mayor. So it is totally, that's a big difference.
That's my understanding, and the mayor here in Springfield, if I understand correctly, the only time the mayor votes is to break a tie.
Correct.
And then the mayor also has the power of veto if there's something that they deem necessary to veto and relook and do again. So that doesn't exist in a commission form.
Yeah. So so then you became a commission, and do you all have a monthly meeting?
Monthly meeting. We meet the 2nd Sunday evening of the month at 7:30. Because we do not get compensated. It's community service. There's no pay for the job. And so our commissioners, because of their work schedules and so on, Sunday evening, 7:30. Most of us can be there after church and are not working on the weekends and so on. So it's
Who's on the commission currently?
Linda Anderson, Heather Reynolds, Billy Cloyd, and Nathan Cochran are the 4 commissioners.
Okay. And so you all have an election every 2 years on the commission and the mayor, or what?
The commissioners are elected every 2 years, and the mayor every 4.
Okay. Okay. So, well, and that of course is like the council, city council as well.
Right.
And so your name has been on the ballot then for a number of times because you have been the mayor since basically in charge since 1980.
Since January 1st of 1980. So at the end of this year will be 38 years.
Wow.
And
congratulations.
Well, yeah, thank you.
On a job well done.
Well, we try.
Yeah.
And your late husband was with Lincoln Trail Area Development when I found out that I was going to become chairman of the trustees. It was kind of interesting back then. We had a chairman and 5 foremen. And after serving 2 years, they just got together and picked out 5 names and put them on the ballot for the next year. And so I got home from school one day, to where I taught school. I got home from school one day, and my wife said, John Bramble, the editor of the Springfield Sun, called, wanted to know about the election for the city of Mackville. And I said, I don't have any idea about it. And he said, well, she said, he said that your name's on the ballot. And I said, I don't know. So my name was on the ballot, and as I said, I got 1 more vote than the other guy, so I became chairman. And so we decided at that point in time after that, well, here we are, let's try to do something. So we've tried to make as many improvements as we possibly could in the city of Mackville and do what we could. I guess our biggest thing is that when the school closed, Mackville Community Development got together, which is a totally separate entity from the city. Because they were in the city, we were able to get the grant from the state of Kentucky to purchase the building, and the Mackville Community Development bought the school, and we have the community center. So that's been our biggest endeavor over the past 38 years.
Yeah. And what a great place that is.
I think so, but I'm prejudiced because that's where I went to grade school. I graduated there in '66 at the last class at high school there, and then taught there the last few years that I was teaching, except for the final year when the school was consolidated, and I spent the last year at Willisburg, the new school there.
Yeah, yeah. When Mackville and Willisburg consolidated. I remember that. And then, so most your teaching career was at Mackville
At
School.
Mackville, yes.
Okay. And you were principal, weren't you?
No, ma'am.
No?
Glenn Black was principal.
Okay. Okay. So you, how many years did you teach at Willisburg then?
1.
I mean at Mackville.
At Mackville? Well, I'll have to do the math. 6 years here at the old middle school in Springfield, and 1 year at Willisburg is 7, and I taught for 27, so I was between 19 and 20 years at Mackville.
Yeah. So that was home to you, and
Yes,
still
ma'am.
is.
Yes, ma'am. Still is, yes.
Yeah. So.
The exception of 2 years in Cincinnati while my wife was in college, and 2 years touring the world with the United States Marines. Of my 69 years of life, 65 of it has been in Mackville.
Well, now you attended college somewhere.
Oh, I did, but Mackville was still home.
Yeah.
I attended Southeastern Christian Junior College in Winchester, and then 2 years with the United States Marines. Then my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and my postmaster's graduate rank 1 came from Eastern Kentucky University.
Okay. Okay. So did you live up on campus for a while, or did you?
I lived on campus when I was an undergraduate, but with my master's, and then beyond that was commuting. So.
Now, is your wife from Mackville?
Yes, she's from Mackville.
Okay.
Sharon Russell.
That's right. She was a Russell. Yeah. So you all probably were high school sweethearts or something.
Well, I'd like to say that, but I can't do that because I tease her often and tell her that I'm 6 days older than she is. My birthday is February 14th. Hers is February 20th. However, there's a 6-year difference, so I'm 6 years older than she is. So when I was a senior in high school, she was in the 6th grade. So seemed like a lot then, but later on it didn't.
Yeah. So you probably then you all didn't start dating till you were out of high school, obviously.
She was a junior in high school, and I was just finishing my time with the United States Marines, and I did. Sitting on the fantail of the USS Francis Marion in a part of the world that's probably still classified, I wrote a letter and sent it to her, and she got it, and I got home, and we had a date, and now we have 4 children and 9 grandchildren, and as they say, 44 and a half years, and the rest is history,
44 and a half years. Wow, that's great.
Absolutely.
Well, you were you in during the Vietnam era then?
I was in 69 to 71.
Yeah. So, were you in active combat, or you?
Yes, ma'am.
You were on the Marine in the Marines.
In the Marine Corps from time.
Well, then I know you were probably inactive because I think all the Marines are, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am. Generally, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you for your service to our country, Carl.
Well, you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that. I get that more often now than I did in 1970 and 71, and I certainly wish that there were those still living today that could get that thank you. So I do appreciate the thank you. Thank you very much.
It was a difficult time, I think, and a lot going on. And recently at our Sorghum Festival, I don't know if you got to attend that or not, we had an appreciation, a welcome home and an appreciation to our veterans, and particularly those of the Vietnam era. I don't know if you got that information or not.
I had the information, but family obligations had me out of town, so I was unable to be here.
Yeah. Well, it was a nice ceremony, and so we wanted. I was glad that the Chamber of Commerce and the city were supportive of that and wanted to do that. I think we ought to make that an annual part of our festival.
Well, I think so, because we have the freedoms that we have in this country are because of the men and women who have served, and we sit here right now today free to do what we're doing because some mother's son or daughter is in a cold hole in the ground somewhere around the world right now, keeping us safe so we can do what we're doing. And I think oftentimes we fail to appreciate that. And so I would say a big thank you to those that are serving right now.
Yeah.
I don't know where you are or what you're doing, but I know it needs to be done.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Thank you for saying that. And so you came home from the Marines, and then and took Sharon out for a date. And
yes, ma'am.
Married.
2.5 years later, our first date was in December of 70, and we married in July of 73. So, I'm sorry, December 70, and we married in July of 73. So.
Yeah. And during that time, you were going to college.
Yes, ma'am.
So you came home from Richmond, from Eastern, and got married, and I guess you were probably through with your undergraduate maybe at that point or close to it.
I lacked 1 semester when we married, and she had just completed her first semester at Cincinnati Bible College. So she was in Cincinnati. So then we moved to Cincinnati, where that I worked for 2 years in the corporate world while she finished her degree. Then we came back to the farm, and 1975, and bought my grandfather's farm, and prime interest rate went to 22%, and
Oh, I remember that.
Gee, I don't think we can do this, and so I quit teaching and farming part-time and went to teaching full-time. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
But you knew you wanted to get into education?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you know, I find that interesting because, you know, there are a lot of educators, teachers who at one time, you know, mostly male, and they farmed on the side. And of course, we're being in a rural community and in a farming community. I would think, oh my gosh, how do they do it? They teach all day and then they go home and farm at night. And of course, that's hard work.
Well, that it is hard work, and dollars are involved, and you have to have X amount. If I recall correctly, the first year I taught school, my salary was $7,240 yearly, annual salary. So supplemented it on the farm, but then, of course, had to change after that. Did some other things, you know, besides.
Mm-hmm,
But many bivocational people out there, and of course I know we had other folks that were teaching school at the same time I was. They were insurance adjusters. They were sold insurance in their spare time and through the summer. They had other jobs in the summer, so various things. Because in all honesty, frankly, when you teach school, you don't expect to get rich.
No.
Because it's a set salary and a lot of extra things that go along with it. You know. Night, weekends, and so on. So.
Yeah. I remember you being out at Mackville School teaching. I'd be out there sometimes checking on a kid. You and I had to have a few conversations.
We did, and you know, the bottom line is to helping children to be successful. And I have 2 young men that I see on occasion now that have. Of several, but 2 that has particularly come up and thanked me for getting them started in the direction they are in the business that they operate today. And so I thought, well, you know, if you've helped 1 or 2, then it's worth whatever your salary was over the years. You know. It's that old, you know, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But the ones that wanted to drink, you were happy to provide, and they're the ones that were successful.
Yeah. And so, you know, you didn't receive financial rewards, but you did receive a lot of personal awards in helping someone succeed.
Right. And, you know, and when a child says thank you, or a parent says, I appreciate what you tried to do or did do for my child, and so on, even grandchildren. And many situations over the years, there was one case that when I was at Mackville, we had great-grandparents that were raising a great-grandchild.
Yeah.
Difficult. Yeah. But we worked together. Mackville's a small community. Glenn Black, as I said, was principal. He graduated there in 1962. I graduated there in 1966. We used to jokingly tell the kids that you can't hide in the building. There's no place to hide because we know where we used to hide there. We know where all those places are. And we generally, for the most part, then knew their parents, grandparents, their families. They would work with us with them, and it was the community. It's times have changed. It's not that way as much anymore.
Yeah. And of course, with the consolidation of the schools, so you've got, you know, Mackville and Willisburg together.
Right.
And but now tell me, what is the population of Mackville now? Because I do believe Mackville is growing.
Well, it's in the incorporated limits of Mackville. It's somewhere between 200 and 210 or 15, depending on those folks who move in, move out. You know, it does vary.
So it might be on the outskirts of the incorporated
city. Outside of the incorporated limits, there's folks that have built some houses, and families have bought, they've moved in the area from Versailles and Nicholasville and so on to get their, a lot of them have told me that to get their children out of the big city schools.
Yeah.
and but they don't actually live within the incorporated limits of the city. So therefore, they wouldn't be counted in the say metropolitan population.
Wouldn't be a part in that census, would they? Because we'll be having
No.
the census come up before too long, I know.
I already received some preliminary information about the 2020 census.
Okay.
That it is imminent. So
Yeah, yeah.